Now, selfie. But you can guess what I'm doing.
The female bear to have at least 250 pounds on her, or they will not let, it's called delayed implantation. So it will delay the implantation once they breed, and if they aren't heavy enough and healthy enough, then nature says no, you're not going to have cubs. So when you go into hibernation,
solid
time of year they like to walk in the road. And I said, what do we want to call him? He said, how about Mosey? So we called the bear Mosey.
He's quite a body.
Is it?
He's got a dark rump and then it's kind of blonde.
Yeah, and under the belly's dark.
You can see his butt.
No, he's celebrating.
Yep.
Are there more than one there?
Mine, I don't see his butt. I did see him a little, but
It's always difficult to estimate distance.
It's got to be more than 500. It's probably
Yeah, it's probably at least a mile.
about a mile.
yeah, I see him.
Little white dots.
There was also some little white dots on the other side.
That's pretty good for me.
How's this way?
Yeah.
Sì, ho capito, però intanto lo faccio anche secondo la
Wow.
regola.
70 miles from here to there.
I have now seen Denali twice on this trip. All right. Well, I am back in Colorado and got some new stuff. Yep. I spend a ridiculous amount of money in park gift shops because I just don't know any better. But I think it's a cool shirt. Anyways, so I am going to do a thoughts video about the whole sort of Denali trip in general that I'm going to post later this week. But I did just want to jump in at the end of the wildlife video here and offer some of my thoughts about what it's like shooting wildlife in Denali from these buses and, go over definitely things I would have done differently had I known at the time some things, and definitely talk about, where I thought some of the shots were pretty good and just sort of the whole experience. So the footage from this video was shot over 2 different bus tours on 2 different days. So I did not see all of this stuff like just in one go. The first day was on the $30 public bus, where I just went to the bus depot, bought the ticket, and then just rode in and was just like, hey, we'll just go see what we can see. And yeah, the tours themselves are really great. Like they will take you into the park. The bus driver was narrating a lot of like interesting information about the park. It's definitely more than I would have expected to get out of a $30 just basic ticket. I thought with that ticket, she would just drive us in. They pick people up along the way, drop people off, and I thought it was going to be really no talking. But yeah, no, she gave a great, she was great. She gave this awesome narrated tour the whole way. And like I said, that was very unexpected. And basically she relied on us to call out wildlife if we saw it. So we saw moose right there, like right out of the gate. And so she stopped. And unfortunately, so one of the downsides of being on the bus is that you really do need to rely, or you need to hope that the wildlife is on your side of the bus. Because if it's on the other side, you kind of have to go across the aisle and there's people sitting there. So you have to kind of shoot like over them, like out the window. And it's obviously not ideal. So this moose was on the other side and was very close to the road. And so when I finally got my lens out and was taking some shots, like I had my big telephoto on and that was too much lens. I couldn't get any shots, and I was like, I need to switch lenses real quick. And no, you don't have any time to do that. Like, she'll stop for like a minute or two and let people get like a couple of shots, but then they're on because they've got a schedule that they got to keep, and they can't just stop at every wildlife sighting for 20-30 minutes like I would want them to do. But so yeah, that part was frustrating because I was like, oh no, like this is going to be terrible. I'm not going to be able to get any good shots here because they don't stop long enough to like get like good composition or anything like that. So I very quickly readjusted my expectation, and it's a good thing that I did because like we saw a bunch of wildlife. It was great. We saw Dall Sheep, but they were way up on top of this mountain, and I mean, they were little white specks. I mean, even with my telephoto, I could get in there a little bit, and you could tell what they were, but they weren't any good shots. And then we saw the caribou. And the caribou were not only not on my side of the bus, but they were just far enough away that I feel like the shots, if they had just been a little bit closer, I feel like I could have made a decent shot. But they were far away. And so the 2 shots I posted were of the caribou, me fully at 600, even with the 1.4 teleconverter on, and again shooting across someone's lap out a school bus window. Just obviously not the most ideal circumstance. But I'd never seen caribou before, so I guess on the flip side, it was, I could at least check the box off that I've now seen caribou. So yeah, so that was again another sort of frustrating part about the bus. And then we got to the Grizzly Bears, and I'm sure you saw my photos of the Grizzly Bears were much better than the other wildlife I saw. I was like, oh, well, the Grizzly Bears were really good. Like, what happened there? Well, it's interesting because the Grizzly Bears were in the Teclanica River Valley, and the Teclanica River Valley is actually a rest stop on the bus tour. So the bus stops and everyone's able to get out and stretch their legs, go to the bathroom, and they've got this really great big observation deck that looks down into the Teclanica River. And so I was like, yeah, go check out the view. And so I went over there and I looked down in the river, and there's a grizzly bear going right across the river. And I was like, whoa, hey. So I was able to get some really great shots because I wasn't stuck on the bus. I was actually off the bus and could take my time, could set up some decent compositions. I wasn't just, trying to get what I could in the 30 seconds that we were stopped. I actually had like 15, 20 minutes to like really wait for some good shots and get some better composition. So that was good. So the grizzly bear in Teclanica was great. So I was happy with that. And then we got back on the bus and saw another grizzly, and then saw more Dall sheep, but they were pretty far away. And that was kind of it for the public bus. So the next day I took the Tundra Wilderness Tour, which was not a $30 ticket. It was more like a $130 ticket. And I was thinking, okay, well, for the price difference between that and the public bus, like, I'm sure they do more stops. I'm sure there's more, hey, if we do see wildlife, maybe they'll stop enough to like let people get off and try to take their time. That is not the case. In fact, from what I could tell, the Tundra Tour went the exact same distance as the public bus did, and the narration along the way was largely the same. So I kind of feel like the Tundra Wilderness Tour, while very good, I mean, it's a great tour, is also the same tour that you can get by just taking the regular bus. So we did not see as much wildlife on that tour. We saw, again, Dall sheep. They were a little bit closer this time, so I was able to get an okay photo in that little video clip of them way up on the hillside. I think you can hear in the background the bus tour guy was like, yeah, they're a mile away. I mean, that was as close as I got. It was literally a mile away was the closest I saw Dall sheep, which was a bummer. But, still saw them. So, again, can check the box off, I guess. But, yeah. And then that tour was, it was largely the same experience as riding the public bus. Except on the way out, we did see Denali again, which I put in the end of the video here, which was great. So, what would I do differently? Well, I'll give this advice. If someone maybe comes across this video and it's like, hey, I want to go shoot wildlife in Denali, what's the best way to do it? Here you go. I have the solution for you. This is absolutely what you need to do. You need to get to Denali with your own transportation, whether that's a rental car, whether that's a scooter, whether that's a bicycle, whether that's a go-kart, whether that's anything. You have to have your own transportation, because relying on your hotel's shuttle or any of the shuttles up in that area is a huge mistake, as I came to find out. So here's what I would do. I would have your own rental car, go to the Denali bus depot at like 6 or 7 in the morning, go in early, because I think the first bus goes in at 6. Buy the $30 ticket to ride the public bus, jump on the bus, ride it into the park until you see something that you're like, oh, I would like to photograph that. Get off the bus. Take your tripod, do whatever you're going to do. You can get off the bus at any time you want. Get off the bus, do your thing, and then once you're done, the next bus that comes by, you can wave them down, and then you can jump back on that bus, and then you could ride that in further until you see something else. You could easily spend an entire day just doing that, and I wish so much that that's what I would have done. But I was always on a huge time constraint to get back to the bus depot because my hotel shuttle cut off at 8 p.m. So if I got back at 8:02 p.m., my hotel would not come get me. And there's no Uber or Lyft up there or anything like that. So that's what I would do. If I could go back and do it all again differently, that would be what I would do. I would make sure I had a way to get to the bus depot on my own. That way I wasn't relying on like a shuttle schedule or a hotel schedule. I would be on my schedule. And I really think doing that, you could go in and make some great stuff. I really do. I mean, of course, you're always going to be just under the luck of whether wildlife's going to be out that day or not. But I do think there is a way to go in there and have some freedom and get some good wildlife. So that's what I would have done differently had it been an option to me. But unfortunately, it wasn't. But I'm still overall happy with what I got. And, I saw 4 out of the 5, big 5. So it's pretty good. I'd never seen Dall sheep in the wild. I'd never seen caribou in the wild. So I can mark that off now. And yeah, I mean, I think overall it was fine. And again, like my complaints about, the way the buses work, it's not the bus driver's fault. It's like, it's nobody's fault. Like, these buses have to be on a schedule. They can't just stop because I want them to, So, yeah, it is what it is. So, but that would be my advice if you were going to shoot wildlife, is to just go in on the public bus, but make sure you have a way to get back and forth. Don't rely on anyone else. But anyways, well, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. And I hope maybe this advice will help out other people who are going to Denali to maybe shoot wildlife as their main focus. Because I can tell you, we wildlife photographers are not the main clientele there, and there's nothing in the park that really doesn't really suit us. like all of the park is intended to suit cruise line guests and just people who are there to just do basic sightseeing. Like, there's no real hey, this one's for the photographers, that doesn't exist. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll be back with another Denali video coming up here in the next couple of days.